What it do, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am giving you day number 4 for my 5-day foundation week, and I'm really excited for the foundation that I'm going to be featuring today. And this is the One Size Turn Up the Base Full Beat Liquid Foundation. This will not be the first time that you guys have seen me apply this foundation on my channel. I believe I've applied it at least once other on my channel, but today is going to be the review. If you're wondering which shade, I had to do a shade match. I had to return the original shade that I picked up, and I believe that's the foundation shade that I actually showcased on my channel previously, but this is in the shade Dark Deep 25N, and this touts to have neutral undertones. So now I'm going to go ahead and talk about a little bit out this foundation. I'm going to read off the box first, and then I'm going to dive into the Sephora information. So this is a full coverage, soft matte, waterproof, and sweat-proof formulation that gives you long wear and weightless feel. It will not clog your pores. It is dermatologist tested, and it's supposed to have 16 clean ingredients. Their description of the foundation on the box states that it is a full beat reimagined. This long wear soft matte foundation is formulated to deliver full coverage with only 16 clean ingredients, hugging skin with max comfort all day. It visually blurs and smooth skin flawlessly without clogging pores. And there are 3 highlighted ingredients that are listed on the packaging. There is lentil lysine, alkane complex, and rice silk powder. So if you're interested in any of that information, I will try my best to have a link straight to this so that you guys can have that information. Apparently, the clinical results state that 94% agreed that this foundation does give full coverage, that the foundation feels super comfortable to wear, and that it applies smoothly to the skin. As always during this week, this is the initial kind of application that you're currently seeing in the point of me filming this intro. So it has not really settled into my skin, but you can see how the initial finish is. I did powder this as I powdered everything else. And we'll get into all of that information once we get further into this video. So if you are interested in knowing my opinions on this for combination oily skin individuals, I am, as I said, turning 31 in like literally a couple of days. But anyways, I am currently 30, so my skin is not a spring chicken. If you're interested, I will have all of that information throughout this video, so just stay tuned. And if you aren't already subscribed, I would love if you subscribe or give this video a thumbs up if you are enjoying it thus far. If not, give it a thumbs down. That is fine with me as well. So now I'm going to the Sephora website. I have not told you the price of this yet. It is $44. And of course you get the typical, I believe, 1 fluid ounce. You do. As Sephora has definitely highlighted certain things. So they have highlighted this is full coverage, a liquid formulation. They state that this is a matte finish, whereas One Size stated that it was a soft matte finish. So very slightly differences there. They do state that this is vegan, long wearing, and again, waterproof. On the Sephora website, it states that this is a long wear waterproof sweat-proof foundation formulated with only 16 ingredients that gives full coverage and maximum comfort to visibly blur and smooth without clogging the pores. Same different information, coverage, full, finish, matte, formulation, liquid, of course. They highlighted the exact same 3 ingredients. And then there's another section that says kind of what else do you need to know. Let's get into that as well. It says that a full beat reimagined transforming, oh, this is, I think, the same. This is similar. We'll keep going. A full beat reimagined transform the complex with weightless full coverage that looks as good as it feels. This foundation is formulated with amino acids lysine to prevent makeup breakdown, while 100% plant-derived emollients replace silicone for a soft matte finish that hugs skin all day. It is dermatologist tested, non-comedogenic, and suitable for sensitive skin. So we've had the same kind of trigger words within all of the information that I've read, right? It's full coverage. It's supposed to be long wear. It's supposed to be weightless. It's supposed to be very comfortable. It's not supposed to clog the pores. And of course, it has that like soft matte finish. Those are all the information that we have already discussed. I will touch on all of these topics throughout this video, so just stay tuned. But in case you are interested in seeing this application and of course how this foundation wears on my skin long term, let's just get into it. Alrighty guys, so I'm here to bring you day 4 of foundation week. As I said in the intro, right now the time is 5:13 in the morning. I woke up really early, so I figured instead of kind of tossing and turning, we're just going to take advantage of my morning because this is the first night that I go into work, and so I usually don't actually film wear test on this day, and it could really be helpful for me to get this video out, or at least filmed early for myself. So anyways, as I already talked about, I'm going to be testing out the One Size foundation. I've already worn this multiple times in the shade that did not work for me, and also this shade as well. If I did not say before, the shade that I have is Dark Deep 25N, and I just like to do like a pump and a half on the bottom of my beauty sponge, and then I just apply it right in. As you can see, it's pretty much an exact match for my skin tone, which I really enjoy. I think that it really applies nicely with this one layer. And if I did not say, I already had my primer on, which is the exact same primer I've been using this whole foundation week. I do tend to re-up just a little bit more in the forehead area coverage wise, and I add just a tinge bit more on this particular cheek, as I've pretty much done with all of the days this foundation week. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing. I like to let those sit for a little while. I do have a little bit of extra on the back of, or the bot of this sponge. Like I said, I'm just going to let them sit for a little bit and then just kind of push that product in that exact zone, and then kind of make sure to blend it in so it's not really heavy in that one area. And then I'm just going to do the exact same thing up here. As you can see, coverage on this is actually really good. I will come in as always so that you guys can see what it's looking like with just this product on my face. So give me 1 second and I'm gonna come right in. As always, let's start in the forehead. I think that this covered really well compared to the other 4 days. I believe this is the best amount of coverage that I've gotten at ground zero. Otherwise, my forehead's looking really good. No creasing, no dryness, nothing like that. And everything's looking really evened out, symmetric. I'm just making sure everything is blended. I think everything looks really good right now. I will say that this is a foundation that I felt similar to some foundations that I've had in the past, that it kind of dries down and you don't necessarily need to powder. For my preferred finish, I do prefer not powdering as much as I normally do, but once again, for symmetry's sake, I will go ahead and do exactly what I've done every day for the rest of this foundation week, which is to put concealer, powder, and my setting sprays, brows, and my lip products on. That is it. So give me 1 second. I'm going to hop off camera and then we will get that done so you guys can see what I'm looking like in officially ground zero for today's video. Alrighty, so I just finished putting on the rest of my full face and it is about 5:30 now. So we're going to use that as my like start time. Officially, we are going to do a 12-hour wear test today. And like I said, I think I forgot my second setting spray. Let me do that real quickly. As it's drying down, I will definitely say that if you're somebody who does not like to powder, I definitely don't think that you need to. Just off bat, this foundation does dry down. But I did just want to keep all of the same principles as I have for the rest of the other foundations this week. But with that said, that's it. Typically after this point in my video, I switched to a clip where I showcased this makeup in natural lighting. Right now, there is no natural lighting because the sun does not come up until 6:50. So I will wait literally a little bit over an hour prior to doing that clip. And I will do it in the exact same spot as I have done every day for this foundation week, just so that you guys can see how it has settled in. If you're wondering anything that's on my face, everything pretty much is the same. Only thing that I've changed every now and again throughout the days is what's on my eyes. Today, I'm literally just using one shadow from my Danessa Myricks palette. If I am able to, I will always have that information down below in the description box. If I don't know, I will unfortunately just have to skip it. But yeah, it's looking really, really good right now. I'm just going to show you all 3 angles, and that's it. I'll see you guys in about an hour and a half when I do my natural light check-in. Alrighty guys, so it looks like it's gonna be another overcast type day. I tried to wait as long as I could, but it's now almost 8 and it's still not very much sun coming out naturally. But I wanted to show you guys what's going on with my makeup. To be fair, I have not looked at it, so I need to stop and look at it for a bit, but I just figured I'd give you guys unfiltered access to what I'm looking like. Let me run to my restroom, check it out, and then I'll be right back. For me, this is extremely matte right now. It really doesn't look or feel as though the foundation has started to break apart. I am liking the overall aesthetic. It does look skin-like, but it's looking very kind of drier compared to what I normally get, which is more of a satin type finish. Like I said, it just looks like the sun is literally peeking through trees right now. So I'm sorry if this is not as kind of lit as it normally is during these natural check-ins, but I did not want to take too much longer before I did this check-in. So of course I'll be giving you guys a check-in 5 hours after my initial first impressions or application, so that you guys can see what this foundation is wearing into and how it looks on my skin. Hey guys, so it has been a day, right? Like I've been up since 3, and don't get me wrong, I just finished drinking my strawberry refresher that I make from home with lemonade. So I am up, but like I'm weirdly awake. I just did not expect to be this awake, and of course now my heater is turning on, but it is all good. We are excited. It is just a little bit before 11:30. I did not want to get carried away doing something else. I've been multitasking all day, getting things done, as you've got to. So we are here for our check-in. It's been about 6 hours since I applied this makeup, and I think it's time for us to really investigate. Now, before I really come in closely, I just want to look in my mirror. This is the dirtiest mirror known to man, but it is going to work out. I have some thoughts. Let's come in close. Alrighty, so as you can see, the forehead, you can start to see where my forehead wrinkles are. I haven't been very expressive today because I've really been like filming, editing, prepping to do one or the other, and like doing chores and stuff. So I haven't really been like sitting here like, you know, really twisting up my face or anything, but I feel like you can really see your girl's lines. Now, maybe that's not the lines, but it feels like that's what I'm seeing on my forehead. And that is not something that I'm used to seeing. I don't really care about it. I'm a very expressive person, but it's just not something that I am, like I said, used to seeing. We do see that now some of my oil has really started to project out of this foundation. That said, there's no real breaking apart of the foundation except for right around the nose bridge area, which is where my glasses set. The part around my mouth all looks pretty good as well, and that is another area that I used to have issues, especially in these crease lines. Good grief, they used to just sink into there right around this time, and that's definitely not the case. And yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty much how I would expect. Now for me, I will say most of my favorite foundations, I look this kind of satiny without the kind of oily effect at the initial application. This foundation, of course, states, and I knew going in that this was a soft matte foundation. So I knew it was definitely going to take a little bit longer for my oils to really break this down. But what I am enjoying is that this is something that long term, it's probably going to wear the best. And we'll talk about my overall thoughts at the end. And I just decided actually today in filming this video that I'm going to do a roundup at the end of this week featuring all of the foundations, because I feel like some of my analysis at the end of my videos has just not been very eloquent at all. So I wanted to do a video where if you could just not stand my end conclusion, or if you just want something where you can go there and see your answers or decisions for all of the foundations, I'd have the video for you guys. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of content being pushed out pretty much from right before Thanksgiving all the way until the end of the year. I am trying to try my best to get all of the content that I'm really excited for you guys to see out there and on time. But yeah, this has been a lot longer of an update than they usually are, and I've spilled out information that has nothing to do with this particular foundation. So far, I'm definitely liking this foundation a lot more as it has continued to settle, and that was my opinions of this foundation prior to this wear test. I have worn this long periods of time. I would say between this one and the Huda Beauty, those were the two that I wore like longest, like periods of time, and somewhat more consistently. Except for, what was the second foundation that I did? I did the Huda Beauty. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. But I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't want this update to be too much longer than it already has been. So I'm going to say goodbye, but I will see you guys right around 5:30 p.m. so that we can go ahead and conclude this 12-hour wear test. Alrighty guys, so I am here to do the conclusion to my 12-hour wear test, and typical fashion, I'm coming in just a little bit early. This is it is 5:21, so just a little bit early than I think even I came in for my initial check-in. I want to say my initial check-in started at like 5:27, but nonetheless, it's 5:30, right? If for whatever reason you forgot between the last clip and this clip, I am currently wearing the one size turn up the base full beat liquid foundation, and I have this in the shade Deep 25N. So what I'm gonna do is come in really close so that you guys can see what is going on with my face. I did look at my face about 2 hours ago, and I was already noticing some things that I wanted to point out, but we'll get into that in just a second. Now, I could have put on a chapstick. I was actually fixing to do that, and then I realized that it has been a thing this whole week. I have not put on a lip balm or a chapstick or anything like that, so I figured I'd just continue on with the trend of that this week. Now, there were a lot of claims that happened at the beginning of this video that I was talking about, and I was dictating from the packaging all the way to Sephora and back. I'm not going to go too in detail with that because I am going to be doing a video at the end of this week where I talk about all of the foundations and I compare them based on what I saw at the beginning and what they told me I should have seen throughout the day, and then kind of the end. What I'm going to do is talk about what's going on with my face. So at the top, it did not really emphasize any more than what we saw at that last check-in. I'm still seeing like that weird kind of potential seeping of my frown lines and my and my just normal skin up here. It's not even really the frown lines or the expression lines. It's just like the normal lines in my skin. I'm seeing slight deviations where it's slightly dipping into that. Also, my pores really look emphasized today. Now, that could be because yesterday's foundation I feel like did a decent job at covering up the pores. No, yesterday was the LYS. That was not really good. Recently I've worn the Huda Beauty. That's what I'm saying. And that one did a really good job. Today it feels like my skin really, this foundation really just seeped directly into my pores right around the like 7 to 8 hour mark. I didn't notice it until the 10-hour mark, but I would guarantee it was somewhere around there. And I'm also starting to see some seeping into my smile lines right around the corner of my mouth. So this is actually looking more broken down than any of the other foundations that I have found throughout this week thus far. Honestly, I would have expected it from the LYS. And I don't know if I pointed it out, but the LYS right around my upper lip was looking very kind of porous, very similar to how my cheeks look today, which is a very unusual thing for me. That really is not something that happens. But today it's looking like there's quite a bit of variety where my skin just doesn't look great. I will say right up until that last check-in, which was what, the 6-hour mark, I really loved the foundation. It was really good. I felt like it was still pretty stable. Yeah, I found some like seeping into my lines on my forehead, but it wasn't anything like really of note that really needed to be emphasized or really talked about. But now the potential for these line seeping, I'm wondering if the claim for this to be a long wear foundation really should be something, whereas there are other foundations that have not claimed it and I've not had this issue. Now, what I will say is that I don't really feel the foundation at all. It's not heavy. It doesn't feel very oily. I will say my face does look oily, but that's just a normal production of my oil throughout the day. So nothing really big there. And I think in the grand scheme of things, the reason why this really is starting to separate in the zones where I get the oiliest on my face is because it's full coverage. Had this been more towards my normal, which is medium coverage, I don't think that I would have had any of this. And for this foundation, I don't really think that you can really blend it out for it to be less coverage. It just does not seem like the type that would blend out the way that some are, like the Pat McGrath foundation. You can blend it out and it can be medium coverage, or you can build it up and it can be full coverage. This I don't find is one of those foundations where you can really get that variety, even though yes, I did build it up right around this cheek and in this part of my forehead for my respective hyperpigmentation. These are not the zones in which I'm the oiliest or I'm really seeing the most kind of issues with buildup. So that's kind of my thoughts overall. I definitely feel like this foundation really started to break apart around that 10-hour mark and is continuing to break apart in this 12-hour mark. That said, this still looks fantastic compared to the foundations that I grew up learning about and, you know, learning this new phase of makeup as I've been an adult. So I'm not hating it, but I definitely think that this is some information that needs to be known for those who have my skin type or even oilier and they expect this product to last a long period of time. If they are like me and they do not reapply, they do not blot, anything like that. As for what I really did today, honestly, after that second check-in, I pretty much was on the couch trying not to go to sleep, and I didn't, which is good, so I can get some sleep and then head into work. But there was not really any kind of exertion for this foundation to really have been broken up or anything like that. So I think that's it. That's all I've got. As always with the rest of this week and any of the videos that I upload, if you enjoy this video, I would love it if you give this a huge thumbs up. If you don't, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. That is okay as well. And if you enjoy this video, enjoy my content, I would love it if you hit the subscribe button. And with that said, I'll see you tomorrow for the 5th and final video in the new foundations. And then that 6th video, like I said, we'll be talking about a wrap up for all of these foundations. Alrighty guys, bye.